Hey, welcome to making the best fucking Enjolras Halloween costume that your school has ever seen. The most important thing is to know the details of this event and the details of you. We could use this whiteboard, or what we're gonna do is we're gonna ignore that. That's something different. Don't look at that. It's a story idea. First of all, listen. So you've got multiple Enjolras, right, that you could cosplay as. So either you could do movie, or you could do stage, or BBC. But here are the three main things that you have to know about yourself before you go into doing this. One is gonna be money. And that point is, do you have it? The second point is gonna be skill. And the third point is gonna be time. So you gotta consider these three distinct factors in order to best do your Enjolras cosplay. First of all, you did specify Canon era, which is always a bit of a mixed bag. So something else that you need to be thinking about with your Canon era cosplay is like, one, how much do you give a shit? Let's put this on the give a shit, which is super important. How many shits do you give if your cosplay is perfect Canon era cosplay? I'm not interested in that because my level here, give a shit? No, because I just like to cosplay because it's fun. Money? No. Skills? No. Time? Usually I come up with things at the last minute, so I have none of these. Let's first take a peek at some possible pieces that we could use. Why did I put this here? Why did I think that this was the place to put the giant ass? I can't. What we've got in here are the basic things that I have. Well, there's other shit in here as well. And I just want to make one thing abundantly clear. As we said before, I had none of the things on the whiteboard, so most of the shit I have here was either made for me by someone else who had the money, the time, and the skills, or some combination of those three, or I found it somewhere. I cannot stress enough how little I did to deserve to own these really cool pieces of clothing. First of all, basic Canon era shit. Well, they had these funky shirts that have weird ass collars, and the sleeve part with the shoulder sort of comes down to like mid, whatever the fuck this is, bicep? And then they got these big old funky sleeves. I don't have a shirt that is accurate Canon era cosplay that doesn't have blood on it. So that's something that I have to overcome. And then here's where we veer off direction-wise. If you're gonna do stage Enjolras, you do, this is a really shitty version. Sorry, Mom. My mom and I made this together in 9th grade. This was a pre-black purchased vest, and we sewed red over it. She sewed red over it. Skills, none. And we cut this funky shit and we sewed it on, and it made this. And you know what? It's fucking passable. Will it blow away your whole school? Does your school know much about Enjolras? And if they don't know anything, then, you know, do whatever the fuck you want. Who gives a shit? And then if you're gonna do movie, you know, there's this fucker. So no, this isn't happening unless you have the skill and the time. But if you don't, this is probably not gonna happen. Now both of these things require a cravat, which is basically a long fucking piece of fabric that you wrap around your neck. So you just put it around your neck and you tie it in a fucking knot, and it's Enjolras. And then you need, you know, the crowning jewel of all things, a cockade. I bought this on Etsy. If you don't know how to make them, just buy it. Just buy it. The hardest thing is pants. I have never once owned a pair of period accurate Enjolras little bottoms. I have been wearing black jeans, not these. They have rips in them. And I've always worn black jeans with like suspenders, and then everything's tucked into it. And then, another important thing for Enjolras is of course the tricolor thing that you wrap around your waist.
It's a sash.
I've been corrected. It's a tricolor sash that you wrap around your waist. We need to remember these things. Movie, red jacket. Cravat, oh God. Oh, that's not it. Necktie. Then there are shoes, but you just wear black boots. Doesn't matter what kind. If you got the kind that like are tall, cool. Do you give a shit? Let's say you as a person have the money, the skills, the time, and you give a shit. You got all of these things and you're gonna do movie Enjolras. This is what you do. You get a pattern online for the shirt, the red jacket, and the pants. You buy with your money super good quality fabric and you make them. You make everything. You make it because you can. Because you have the skills, the time, the money, and you give a shit. Stage, you do the exact same thing. You get patterns and you look really, 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 really hard on any picture of stage Enjolras, and you make that fucking vest like a badass, like I've seen people do, and I do not understand how they do it, but they do it and it looks so cool and it looks really good. And then you're done and you go to school and everyone's like, wow, just. So what if you have money and the time and you give a shit, but you don't have the skills, so you can't sew anything. So what you do, pull out your little laptop and you type in men's 1800s shit to purchase, and you go on the old historical emporium website that has historically accurate stuff, and you buy every single item that's required of you. You have the time for everything from historical emporium, authentic products, and old-fashioned service. Old-fashioned service. Then you got the time for that to ship to you, which also means that you have the time to hire somebody on Etsy or commission somebody online who's a cosplayer to make you the jacket, to make you the vest. Don't ask them to make you pants, because that's a little too much. On that historical emporium website, what a good pants selection. There's no shame in buying the stuff for cosplay. Just buy it or have somebody make it for you and support artists that like do really cool stuff. Next thing, you just have the time. You try and find all of this stuff. So you got the time, you don't have the skills, you don't have the money. And at this point, do you give a shit? At this point, you're gonna have to not give a shit. At this point, if all you have is time, and you don't have any other things, wear black jeans or black pants, that's okay. Get some suspenders, you can get those anywhere. The thing to focus on is the shirt and the jacket/vest. I have this shirt. It has the collar and it has sort of the weird sleeves. They're not the same, they're not the ruffled sleeves, but it's close enough. And nobody at your school is gonna come up to you and be like, oh, you're Enjolras? Oh. I don't know if you know this, but your sleeves, they're not conducive to the sleeves that they had in the 1800s. You might want to go take it off because you're fucking embarrassing yourself. No one's gonna say that, and if they do, you just give them one of these. And you say, I'm having fun, shut up. So I found this at Goodwill. You could probably find a red vest. And this came from Michaels. Of course, everything good comes from Michaels. That's very similar with this coat that I have. This was made for me, so don't get any ideas. But this stuff right here exists at Michaels, and you cut it and you fabric glue it onto your red vest. And then you get these buttons, and sewing buttons is really easy. This is, if you don't have any skills, I promise that you can sew buttons. I swear on the stars that you can sew buttons. So if you have the time, but nothing else, that makes movie Enjolras a little bit difficult because of that red jacket at the beginning. You could find maybe a red jacket at a thrift store and then get some fabric and then cut it and then sew little bitty tails on the back of your red jacket if you can find some that's in the same style, but you know, that's pretty slim chances, my friend. So if you're like me, if you have no money, and you have no skills, except sewing buttons, but that doesn't count, and you have no time, and you don't give a shit, you do the best that you can. And the best thing to do is gonna be stage Enjolras, where you wear black jeans, you wear men's collared shirts from H&M. You get one of those, you pop the collar, you roll up the sleeves. The cravat, you literally get a piece of like very sort of like thin black fabric and you tie it around your neck. Get suspenders, that always makes things look like it is old-fashioned. You tuck that in, you figure out your shit with this vest situation. Go to a bunch of thrift stores, find a red vest, and then get that shit from Michael's that is like not that expensive, and fabric glue lines on, and then sew buttons down the side. Once you get your cockade off of Etsy, you could either purchase a French flag and tie that around your waist, or you could just get a piece of red fabric and tie it around your waist, because I'm pretty no. Movie Enjolras wears just the red sash that you could just transport that over to stage. Once you've got the sash and the cockade and something red on you, that means you're Enjolras. What sets Enjolras apart from all the other characters and how you know that it's Enjolras is his big, billowy cloud of blonde hair. If you don't have blonde hair and you feel like the blonde hair is an important part of the character, which is totally valid. Also, if you don't want to do anything about it, that's fucking fine. It's cosplay, do whatever you want. You can buy a wig online. Buy one of those Marilyn Monroe, like white blonde wigs and put it on your fucking head. And you'll look like Enjolras. If you have the money and the time, you can get a real hair wig. But that's so much fucking effort that even if you did have the money and the time, why would you spend it on that? Just get one of those dumb wigs. So I think that the main thing that you should learn from this is, most importantly,